Okay, my friends, Roger once again, Mudfossil University, and what are we talking about here? Finagals Cave. And what is that? Well, I know exactly what it is. People have been bothering me, well, not bothering me, but asking me for years to do this, and I ran into this today, and I am going to do it. Okay, this is Finagals Cave, and you see all these special colors. This is by Hetty Phillips. In 2017, she posted about this cool cave, something out of a sci-fi movie. And this is in Scotland. We're going to be looking at it, this system very shortly. And I understand these colors. And you say, well, how did that happen? Well, let's find out how it happened. And how did these hexagonal basalt columns happen? All right, basalt comes in all kinds of different varieties, depending upon where it was and what conditions it weathered in. This is silicon dioxide. All of these different elements are in the body, and they represent 100% of what these samples broke down into as far as atomic structure. It's exactly, almost exactly the same. You see it? Very, very similar. However, there's going to be exceptions where there was a lot of transition metal invasion. Now let's talk about the invasive process, nucleophilic substitution. Okay, now this is not hard to understand at all because I understand the chemistry, and you will in a minute. You look at this word, nucleophilic substitution, a nucleophile, oh, this electrophile, and all these business. Well, very, very simple. All this is, a nucleophilic substitution, is where you have fleshy stuff and it turns into stone. Well, how does that happen? The substitution happens, and it's a class of chemical reactions. Something invades the tissue in which an electron-rich chemical species is the nucleophile. This side is the electron-rich, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur. They invade the electron poor, calcium in the bones and so forth. So the electron-rich group replaces another group in the electron deficient area, which is in the bones. All the areas that have this sort of magnesium, beryllium, and all the calcium, and this area down here gets replaced by these things. So then they bond together and they stabilize as stone. It's very simple. It's just that they make it sound very complicated. All right, I got to be honest with you, I got a little bit lost in my presentation here, but this is transition metals. Here, these are the things that move through your body and the blood. They want to either give up or take in extra electrons. It's called ligands. They're metal complexes. They move around through your blood, and they grab a hold of oxygen. They grab a hold of carbon dioxide. They grab a hold of zinc and aluminum and all of these different molecules that are in your body that your body needs for nutrition, for food, for everything. And without these, you're dead. Now, they are in your blood, and they are specifically very, very reactive transition metals. And without them, you're in trouble. Now, when you die, instead of going down like the iron, instead of going down and delivering oxygen and going back to pick up some more oxygen, they go down there and there's nowhere for them to go. So they end up stabilizing as a colored mineral within the tendons. And that's what we're seeing. This is what you're seeing at Giant's Causeway and the one in Scotland and all over the world, even Devil's Tower, same stuff. It's these hex fibers. And what are they made out of? CaCO3. What is that? Calcium carbonates. Those are tendinous fibers, and they come out of gigantic tendons that run down so that you can pull your feet and pull your legs and pull your arms. There's a tendon, it attaches somewhere. Well, let me show you the whole thing. You see that? That's what I just showed you. That is how they break down. I showed you how they make smaller and smaller and smaller. They come down in the hex, and then they end up breaking down to this. He's seeing these hexes. So this is a little smaller than the one he's seeing. He's actually just seeing these actual hexes in a bigger form. But All right, you see that? That's identical to Finagals Cave. Each one of these is a little fiber. Believe it or not, it's true. In a gigantic creature like that, you can understand it. If you could see these in a microscope, which I looked at all of this stuff, and I see the variegation, I know what's going on. This is the gluey strip. That's exactly what it is, exactly identical at Finagals Cave. And above that, here is where the muscle wrapped in, and you can actually see the muscle wrapping in, and that eroded away. This is turned into stone. I'm sorry, this is what we live on. This is what it is. This kept a little more color, but inside of Finagals Cave, it's got a tons of color. And again, this is all transition metals. That's what your body works on. If you don't have the transition metals, you're in trouble. And they have to be in certain quantities, and they travel through your body, delivering and picking things up, transitioning. Okay, my friends, I had about 15 things come up in the middle of this. I have a batch of little clips, and I'm just going to throw them in here. I don't know where I was, but I can tell you what, this is transition metal colors, and this was probably in an area where there was some extreme chemistry, bile. This is all biology, so it's kidney or heart metals, you know, which is the metals in the blood that create these different colors. I know I showed you this, or I will show you this, and I probably already showed you it twice or 3 times, but I get confused. I'm old. I get a pass on that. Okay, I'm just going to hit you with it. The things I'm going to be showing you are from creatures' bodies. This is tendons. You see these little chunks here? That's just like this here. Then it breaks down to smaller, like these. Even smaller and smaller. We may be right at the very end, the collagen fibrils, or we may be back here, and we just can't see them breaking down more and more. I don't know, but I can tell you one thing for absolutely certain. This is from tendinous material. And I know the chemistry, I know the anatomy, I know every single thing about this. And let's go look at it right now. And I can show you that we're going to go into Finagals Cave, and you're going to see transition metal colors, which are from some special biology that this is near. And when you see all these colors, it means that something is really doing some invasion. This is why I can say it. You see all these different colors? Those are the stone, or actually the biology wants to accept those metals. Normally would take them in and deposit molecules like nutrition or oxygen or whatever it was. But now there is no place for them to go because the thing's dead. So they take them in, they stay there, and they stabilize as these colors. Now, this had to be, in my mind, very close to either the heart or possibly the liver, because of so much blood colors. That is blood, and in the liver you have a lot of cleaning going on with the blood, and I think that must be somewhere near the liver, and the liver chemistry has done the nucleophilic invasion here. And the last point I want to bring out is every one of these fibers, every single one, has to move independent to each other, just as slippery as can be. And it's called synovial sheaths and synovial joints. It is 4 times slipperier than Teflon on Teflon. Can you imagine? 4 times slipperier. Every one of these has to slide. That's why when you get up, you want to stretch and you want to do all those kind of things so that your body can keep the slipperiness going. I work with Gil Headley. He's the top fascia specialist in the world, and I worked with him for 10 years. He is tops, over the top, and between him and I, we discovered interception balls, and it's just called a new organ system now. They're really all over the top about it, because it is the protective layer that covers all of your organs and all of your membranes, and all of that stuff is interstitial. And now they realize it, and if it's not structurally correct, and it's not fibrous, flexible enough, and it's not protective coated enough, you get invasion, and then you get leaky gut, you get all kinds of things. So there's a lot to learn from this. It's not just, kind of exciting about rocks and giants and stuff. It's everything. Everything is everything. There is nothing that's all by itself. Trust me. I might have already showed you this, but this is transition metal colors. You see what I was talking about? Maybe I did or didn't talk about it yet, but when you have this substitution of molecules that stabilize flesh and things like that and bones and turn it into stone, it's these things, electron-rich and electron-deficient things. These want to invade other things and stabilize things. Let me show you why I can say that, because of these colors. Okay, this is one of the specimens I have here. It's smaller, obviously, than Baalbek, but this is exactly what happened at Baalbek. That's the abrupt transition. Blood is fed right into the middle of these tendons, and you look at the pregnant lady stone, you'll see a bunch of little bloody holes in the very end of it, and that's how. And then there's red and black running off it. This is the glue. That is literally the glue. Now I'm going to play this, and this is when and that glue is what was on top of the tendons that are at Finagals Cave. Now, above the top, you see this curve right here? Hold on, this is perfect. See that curve right there? That's muscle. Muscle actually curves and twists right into this glue. Now watch it as we come forward, because I show it all the way down into the muscle fibers. But what happens is they erode. Muscle is much, much, much weaker than tendon. Tendon is a tough stuff. This is the glue, and it formed all that crazy looking stuff on top of the tendons, which are on Finagals Cave. Now, the tendons on Finagals Cave are very fibrous, fibery ones. So it's a little bit of a different place in the body, I believe. But see, now I'm coming out into the, see, they wrap right around. That's a muscle. Let me come out of here. I'm going real slow. Well, why not? Here it goes. Now, I'm coming out here into the muscle. Remember, that's the glue. Finagals Cave, it broke right here. Well, it eroded away because it's sticking up in the air. This is really fleshy and bloody, and it turns into mud. You see it? It curves right in there, wraps right around. You can see it right there. Let me get back and see it. It's very cool. I love watching this stuff because you could find stuff. You see that? Curves right into the glue, and that's the glue. Abrupt transition, abrupt transition. That is the interface. You see it right there? They wrap right around into it. And then you run off out this way into the muscle fibers. And originally, you're going to see a lot of mineralization, which it gives you the strength. And then you'll see a couple of really abrupt transitions. And that's where they break. I find them all the time, the abrupt transitions. I was homing in and out of this. There's one right there. Well, that's really pretty much almost back to the glue. There'll be another one coming up here in a second. Right there, you see it? That's an abrupt transition. Now, these little holes are feeder holes for blood. That's an abrupt transition, and there was another one at the end. So I know what I'm talking about, and it's time to start paying attention to this. Our history is so much different than we were told. And we're being laughed at for wanting truth. That's what really hurts. And I have so much evidence. I have CAT scans and DNA and specimens and chemistry and anatomists, and you know, to dismiss this and not allow it, it really is disgraceful, because the people that won't allow it are the ones that tell us what we have to say to become smart. I think it's a disgrace.